You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Imagine writing a single sentence in plain English.
Okay.
Like something as simple as inbox at 0 by 5 p.m.
Right.
And then watching a team of invisible engineers instantly write, test, and deploy the code to make that happen.
Yeah.
All before you even finish your coffee.
It sounds wild, but that is not a pitch for some futuristic sci-fi movie.
No, it's really not.
I mean, that is the actual reality of product development in May 2026.
Exactly.
And it is fundamentally breaking the physics of how we build things. Because for decades, the constraint was the speed of human fingers typing code on a keyboard.
Like the actual manual labor.
Yeah, but now, the only real constraint is your ability to clearly articulate what you actually want the machine to do.
Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is to unpack a highly curated stack of product management and engineering frameworks from late May 2026.
Yeah, it's a really critical stack.
We are tracking this massive shift to answer one vital question for you. How is AI completely rewriting the rules of building software? And what do you need to do to not lose your edge, or, let's be real, your job by 2027?
The timeline on this is incredibly unforgiving, honestly.
Yeah.
We're going to look at everything from new AI-native architectural frameworks to the messy organizational psychology of how human teams are completely failing to adapt to this new velocity.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the very first casualty in this shift is the traditional backlog.
Oh, absolutely.
For years, if you were managing a product, your daily reality was bottlenecked by how to build something. You know, you spent your days writing JIRA tickets, managing sprint ceremonies, and tracking code commits.
The endless ceremonies.
Right. But looking at the landscape today, that bottleneck has completely evaporated. The bottleneck now is purely what to build.
Which brings us to the mechanics of a project called OpenPros.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
It's this open source initiative that essentially proves the ultimate agent framework is just natural language.
Plain English.
Exactly. With OpenPros, you don't give the AI a rigid set of sequential prompts or, server configurations. You simply declare an outcome in structured English.
Like a contract.
Yes. It acts as a strict service level agreement, an SLA, between you and the machine. You state the goal, and the agents autonomously self-configure to pursue and achieve that specific outcome.
That inbox at 0 example really illustrates this shift perfectly.
Right.
You aren't telling the agent how to sort the mail or which APIs to hit or how to draft the replies. You just set the SLA.
Yeah, you just declare the outcome.
And there is a fascinating architectural reason why this declarative approach is winning out over hard-coded logic. It ties into a concept in AI research known as the bitter lesson.
The bitter lesson is arguably the most important dynamic to understand in tech right now.
Yeah, it really is.
It's the realization that general AI methods using massive computational power will always beat out humans trying to hand code specific clever rules.
Because if you hard code the how for an AI agent, you're creating instant technical debt.
Exactly. You are going to have to manually refactor your code the minute a more advanced model drops.
But if you just declare the what in English, the system automatically upgrades itself.
Precisely. The agents just get faster and cheaper at achieving your English SLA every single time the underlying models improve.
No code refactoring required.
None. The compute scales your outcome for you.
And, the data on this acceleration is just undeniable. I was looking at that Harness 2026 report.
Oh, yeah, the one with the 500 engineering leaders?
Right, exactly. They surveyed 500 engineering leaders, and the overwhelming consensus there is that the code generation phase, it's basically a solved problem at this point.
It's done. Delivery is accelerating so incredibly fast that traditional release guardrails are snapping under the pressure.
Which leads to this new mandate we are seeing from people like the X-Stripe CTO and analysts like Akash Gupta.
Yeah, the role shift.
Right. They are arguing that non-technical product managers must transform into agent orchestrators. You have to automate your routine workflows to protect your strategic focus.
Because if you are still spending your week manually grooming a backlog of technical tasks, you are competing directly with an automated agent that can do it instantly.
Right. But here is where I get hung up.
Okay.
If the AI is writing the code and natural language is acting as the framework, aren't we just glorified idea generators? Like if the machine does the building, what is the actual craft of a product manager anymore?
What's fascinating here is, well, the craft isn't having the idea.
Really?
No. I mean, anyone can sit in a room and brainstorm ideas. The real craft is maintaining rigorous taste and absolute clarity while orchestrating a chaotic swarm of agents.
Okay, taste.
Yeah. Itamar Gilad recently published a piece defining the three AI PM archetypes, and he points out that AI is not going to replace product people wholesale, but it will ruthlessly filter them.
Wow.
Yeah. The best builders are using AI to force better decisions and tighter alignment. You aren't just an idea generator. You are essentially the editor-in-chief of a very fast, very eager, but sometimes very stupid digital newsroom.
I love that editor-in-chief analogy. It makes perfect sense. An editor doesn't write every article, but they know exactly when a reporter, or in this case an agent, is hallucinating nonsense.
Right. Or building something technically impressive that completely misses the user's actual pain point.
Your judgment is the final bottleneck.
And that judgment is going to be tested in entirely new ways because the very definition of what you are building is changing.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because if agents are executing code this quickly, the fundamental concept of a product completely breaks apart.
It does.
Like, we are so used to defining software by its interface. The screens, the buttons, the menus.
Right, it's the things you click.
Yeah. But according to Mozilla.ai, in an agent-native world, the interface is dead.
Yep.
They argue the product has actually shifted down to what they call the artifact layer.
Which is a major, major paradigm shift.
Yeah, explain that a bit.
So think of the artifact layer as the structured, absolute source of truth in your database. Historically, the product was the UI, right?
Yeah.
You built a static screen so humans could click buttons to update a database.
Exactly.
But today, humans and AI agents both live inside that database. They're constantly inspecting, updating, and validating that core artifact.
So the UI is just, what, a temporary projection?
Exactly. The visual interface only exists when you specifically need to look at it.
There's an example of Notion's new AI workers that perfectly captures this.
Oh, yeah, the dashboard one.
Yeah, so they have these agents that can build a Stripe financial dashboard on the fly.
Right.
The dashboard doesn't sit there taking up server space or navigation real estate.
Yeah.
The agent just grabs the financial data from the artifact layer, throws a custom UI on top of it for the 5 minutes you need to review the numbers.
Right.
Wait, actually, the interface just vanishes after that.
Right, it just vanishes. Which means your product velocity has to be near instant.
Yeah.
And this introduces a frankly wild commercial reality. IBM is now openly stating that these AI agents are quite literally digital employees.
Digital employees, not tools.
We are way past tools. IBM argues these bots require lifecycle management credentials and performance reviews. They're even talking about giving these agents pink slips and retirement plans when their specific models become obsolete.
Well, I mean, firing a bot because its underlying model deprecated, it sounds totally insane.
Right.
But if they're acting completely autonomously inside your database, you literally have to manage them like an actual workforce.
Yeah. And the speed, it completely alters the commercial stakes, too. Sestra recently warned about this. Like, when growth stalls today, what do companies do?
They immediately blame the sales team.
Exactly. But in this era, growth stalling is actually a product velocity problem.
Because of real-time inference.
Yes. Latency is no longer an IT infrastructure problem. It is the core product battleground. If your digital employee takes 5 seconds to generate that temporary dashboard, the user assumes the product is broken.
To be competitive, these dynamic UIs have to feel instant.
They have to. If your velocity isn't matching that real-time standard, your sales will stall, and no amount of aggressive outbound marketing is going to fix it.
Wait, let me challenge that for a second.
Sure.
If the interface is temporary, right, and we have these autonomous digital employees compiling our data instantly, completely behind the scenes,
Yeah.
how do we know we aren't being completely manipulated? Like, if I can't actually see the hard-coded logic, how do I trust the artifact layer?
Well, that is the existential threat of this entire model, and it is exactly why owning a cryptographically secure, verified artifact layer is the single biggest moat a company can build right now.
Because we can't trust our own eyes anymore.
Right. Consider the recent Verif 2026 deepfakes report.
Oh, yeah.
They tested humans against AI-generated content, and the results are frankly terrifying.
I saw that.
Yeah, the average human is only 7% better than random guessing at detecting a deepfake.
7% above a coin flip.
Yeah.
That is just, I mean, that means our intuition is completely useless.
Completely useless. If you don't have absolute mathematically verified trust in that underlying artifact layer, the integrity of your entire platform just collapses.
Wow.
You simply cannot leave trust and safety to subjective human review when digital workers are generating UIs and data structures at this massive scale.
Which perfectly explains this massive friction we are seeing in the market right now. The industry is currently experiencing a huge Claude backlash.
Oh, definitely.
Companies are realizing that just because an agent can build a feature instantly doesn't mean it actually solves a problem.
No, not at all.
We are seeing teams actively purge what are being called vibe-coded tools. Software that looks highly futuristic and sleek, but adds massive bloat to the workflow.
Fast does not equal good, and this backlash is creating an enormous opportunity for differentiation.
It is the difference between fast fashion and a tailored suit.
That's a great way to put it.
AI has given everyone the ability to pump out cheap, fast fashion. Millions of disposable generated interfaces. But your job, if you want to survive this shift, is to be the tailor. Your frustration with lazy AI-generated mediocrity is your biggest career opportunity.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it explains why the most inherently human elements of building products have actually skyrocketed in value.
Right.
When the actual coding is commoditized to zero, the final 10% of craft, the nuance, the taste, the human connection, becomes your entire competitive advantage.
We see this echoed by Shreyas Doshi, who is heavily pushing leaders to get to the core of the thing.
Yes.
He's arguing that we have to stop having these abstract, high-level strategy debates that only exist to make people sound smart in a boardroom and get back to raw human truths.
And you only uncover those truths through rigorous empathy. The 2026 Guide to User Interviews from Great Question makes this explicitly clear. You need to deeply understand the underlying psychology and the why behind human behavior. An AI agent can optimize the what instantly, sure, but only a human can uncover the why.
And once you uncover that why, it dictates your entire go-to-market motion.
Totally.
Like, Postdoc just released a brilliant breakdown of what they call minimum viable product marketing.
Yes, I read that.
Their premise is that to win against this massive ocean of AI noise, you need incredibly fast, story-driven marketing.
Because the product itself is fluid now.
Right. You need clear writing. You need real customer narratives.
If the UIs are disposable and they're just generated on the fly, the story you tell is the only thing that actually anchors the user to your brand.
Exactly.
There was a fantastic piece in Entrepreneur magazine that reinforced this too. They argued that you don't beat the massive incumbents like Google with superior technology anymore.
Because the tech is commoditized.
Right. You beat them with vastly superior, highly targeted positioning.
Positioning cuts through the bloat. So that human empathy, compelling writing, and narrative marketing are the ultimate moats that fundamentally changes what you should be doing from 9 to 5.
It does. Which brings us to the final and definitely the most urgent theme of this analysis.
What is?
How you actually navigate the incredibly messy reality of your own organization in 2027.
Elena Verna did not pull any punches here.
No, she really didn't.
She wrote a piece bluntly titled, "You'll lose your job in 2027.
Yeah, that one definitely grabs your attention.
Right. Her core argument is that the role of a traditional ticket managing product manager, it's just dead.
It's gone.
You have to aggressively build career optionality right now. You have to decide what kind of work actually leverages your human judgment.
And then apply that judgment to the internal chaos of your own company.
Which is a huge shift.
Yeah.
And applying that judgment means radically rethinking what you actually take ownership of day to day.
Exactly. Take retention, for example.
Right.
Boac World just published this really compelling argument. They're saying that UX and product teams need to completely own retention now.
Instead of sales or customer success.
Right. Because churn doesn't start with a bad renewal call from the sales team.
No, it starts way earlier.
Exactly. It starts with a broken onboarding flow or, a really confusing support experience months earlier.
That connects so perfectly to Jim Gray's insight about the defect backlog. I loved this piece.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
He argues that all those minor bugs, the ones you think are just like annoying engineering chores.
The ones sitting at the bottom of Jira.
Yeah. He says that is actually a retention report in disguise.
Yeah, that's such a good way to frame it.
Right. If you have a P3 bug on a core workflow and you just ignore it so you can go orchestrate some shiny new AI agent.
You aren't managing technical debt.
Exactly. You are actively managing revenue out the door. That bug is the exact moment the user decided your software wasn't worth a subscription.
You're essentially building a faster machine just to pour water into a leaky bucket.
Wow.
And the same logic applies to who you are building for.
Right.
Akash Gupta wrote a deep dive on refining your ideal customer profile, or ICP.
Yeah, which is more important now than ever.
Exactly, because if your AI agents are autonomously self-configuring to build features for poor fit accounts,
man.
you are just scaling a disaster.
You're automating your own failure.
Right. You have to sharpen your focus based on actual human market data, not just what the AI suggests is technically possible to build.
So what does this all mean? It's an incredible paradox, honestly.
Yeah, it really is.
We have this futuristic AI. We have digital employees getting pink slips because their models deprecated.
Which is still so crazy to think about.
Right. But the biggest hurdles to you actually keeping your job in 2027, there's still just, methy human office politics and broken onboarding flows.
It is the ultimate paradox. Cuttlefish wrote a brilliant piece about this, actually, about why defining organizational teams is still so incredibly difficult.
Oh, the neat little boxes on the org chart.
Exactly. Those clean little boxes never match how work actually gets done in reality.
Never.
The real challenge you face isn't mastering a new AI framework. It's naming the messy dependencies.
Yeah.
It's the toxic, misaligned incentives. And, the historical baggage that everyone in the office knows is there, but no one feels safe enough to discuss.
Because AI cannot fix a broken incentive structure.
No, it can't.
And it is so easy to feel paralyzed by that kind of internal dysfunction. But Pereira wrote a really empowering piece about the lies product managers tell themselves.
The biggest lie being that you are powerless against leadership.
Exactly. You aren't powerless. Your job now is to gather evidence, challenge those stale assumptions, and frame your ideas directly around business priorities to force leadership to act.
And you have zero excuses not to gather that evidence because the cost of prototyping an idea is now practically zero.
Right.
Ravi Mehta pointed this out brilliantly. He said the absolute best prototypes are built strictly to answer one specific decision, and then they're instantly thrown away.
You just toss them.
Yeah. You do not polish them. You do not treat them as the foundation of the product. You match the fidelity of the prototype strictly to the question you need answered. You secure the organizational alignment, and you throw the code away.
Fast fashion prototypes to build tailored organizational alignment.
This raises an important question, though, and it's something you need to ask yourself as you look at your own calendar this week.
Okay, what is it?
Are you spending your time polishing disposable prototypes, or are you actually using your human judgment to force decisions and fix the root causes of churn?
That is the ultimate gut check.
It really is.
Let's bring all of this together. We have covered a massive amount of ground from this late May 2026 snapshot, and the rules are completely rewritten.
Completely.
You are no longer a backlog manager. You have to step up and become an agent orchestrator. The user interface as the defining edge of your product is dead. The artifact layer is the new battleground.
And because of that incredible speed and commoditization, your ultimate competitive advantage is no longer your ability to ship features. It is your human taste, your deep user empathy, and your courage to navigate messy human teams and call out broken internal incentives. You don't compete with the machine on speed. You orchestrate the machine with vastly superior human judgment.
But there is one final thought we want to leave you with to mull over. We talked earlier about IBM's vision that we are going to be managing AI agents like digital employees, giving them performance reviews based on their output, and handing them pink slips when they fail to meet the SLA.
Right, but as these agents get better at optimizing that underlying artifact layer, and as they become entirely autonomous at executing the what, how long until the AI agent is the one looking at the database, analyzing the actual market impact of your decisions, and giving you a performance review based on the ROI of your human taste?
The invisible workers evaluating the architect. That is a terrifying but very real thought to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep asking the hard questions, stay curious, and apply that human judgment. We will see you next time.
Spoken Tech for your ears.